Hello, welcome back to my channel. My name is Katie. Today we are continuing with the A to Z makeup series. We're doing part 2 to the A video. So today is another full face of makeup brands, beginning with the letter A. So today we're using the products that I obviously couldn't use in the first part because I brought so many. We're basically just using 2 brands today. We're using Effect Cosmetics and we're using Astra makeup. I think there are a couple products I will have to just repeat using from the first video because I just didn't have 2 of them. But yes, everything that I put on my face today, all from brands beginning with the letter A. So let's go ahead and get started. So like I did in the first video, which by the way I will put a card up for that video, it'll probably make a bit more sense if you watch that one first, if you're interested. Yes, like I did in the first video, I'm going to test out the concealer first. So I used the Anastasia concealer in the first video, and in this video we're using the Astra Long Stay Concealer, which looks like this. And this is in the shade 01W. I think this was the lightest shade. So I'm going to use this as an eyeshadow base, but I'm also just going to test it out on my eyes without any foundation, just because I want to see what the coverage is like. So the shade looks pretty warm toned, like it's definitely very yellowy, but it is quite fair, so that is good. It wasn't like, I feel like Astra, from what I saw, it didn't have the best shade selection. Like it wasn't terrible, but it wasn't like amazing. Yeah, this brand I think is a Polish brand, so it's probably a lot easier to get if you're from Europe. Okay, so that is what the concealer looks like, and that's it next to a non-concealified eye. Definitely quite a matte formula, but I am pretty impressed. I think that has actually covered really well, and I honestly had no idea what to expect because this isn't really a brand I know anything about. And it is quite an affordable brand, I will say that. Most of the products were pretty cheap, so I am actually quite impressed with that. That has actually covered really well. I wouldn't say it's like the most full coverage ever, but it has covered like pretty much everything that I would want it to cover. Like I think that looks really good, especially when you compare it to the bare eye. Yeah, it definitely feels like it's more matte as well, I would say. So I'm going to use this as an eye primer. I'm going to put some on the other eye. I'll probably just wipe it off my under eye because I don't need it right now. Okay, so for eyeshadow, in the first video we tried out the Anastasia Rose Metals eyeshadow pressed pigment palette, which looks like this, and I was very impressed with it. I will use this a bit in this video, but I did also get a few single eyeshadows. These are also from Effect Cosmetics. These are the Colour Attack foiled eyeshadows, and I got 3 different colours. So this one is number 35, and it's like a sort of turquoisey, bluey colour. It looks really stunning. This one is 09, and this is kind of like a dark sort of silvery colour. Also looks very pretty. And then I also got number 15, which is a sort of pale pinky kind of colour. So that's all I have in terms of eyeshadow for this video, so I will obviously tap into some shades in the Anastasia palette as well. Just trying to think on how I can make those 3 colours sort of work together. It might be a bit difficult, but I'm going to try and give it a try because I would quite like to use all of them, if that is possible. I think I'll just start by doing some like transition shades in the crease, just with the Anastasia palette, and then the main base of the lid. I'll see if I can use all 3 of those foiled eyeshadows. I don't know. This look might turn out a bit strange, we'll see. So I think I'm just going to alternate between this lighter sort of orangey, burnt orangey shade and this deeper red one. I'm just going to put both of those shades in the crease, sort of blend them into each other, and that should just do, the job for transition shades. Okay, we've just done some transition shades of that palette. So I'm gonna do these foil shades over a cut crease, I think. So I'll start on this eye. Just gonna use the same concealer and do sort of an all over cut crease. I think that might help the shadows pop a bit more. Okay, I think I'm going to start with the pink shade right in the middle. I'm just going to use my finger, I think, for that. Oh, that's quite pretty. Just putting this right in the centre. It's more of like a sort of matte shimmer in a way, like it's not super like sparkly and glittery, but it does show up and it does look nice. I'm gonna then put the, should I do the silver next or should I do the green next? Because this is quite a dark silver. No, I think I'll do the silver next, and then I'll do the bluey greeny shade in the outer 2/3. So I'm doing the silver next to the pink. Again, it's quite similar in that it's not like super shimmery and glittery, but it does show up really well. But it's like very like sort of diffused kind of shimmer. I guess we're going to go in with this colour now and put that right in the inner and outer third. Again, that one is also pretty similar. Like, I do think they overall look really nice. They're not like the most mind-blowing like shimmer eyeshadows I've ever seen. And they have quite an interesting texture. They're quite like sort of velvety. But yeah, like they're not super sparkly shimmers. They're almost sort of like matte shimmers. That's weird. I'm not disliking them, but I wouldn't say I'm in love with them. I mean, it's an interesting eyeshadow look, but I don't hate it. It's just interesting. So I'm just going to go ahead and catch up on the other eye. Okay, we are back with completed eyes. You know what, now that I've done both eyes, like, I don't know, I'm kind of vibing with this eyeshadow look. We've got some eyeliner products to use. I have 2 pencils, so obviously I can't really use both of these. One's from Astra. This is the Cosmographic Waterproof Eyeliner in the shade 03 Supernova, and it's like a brown, like a maroony brown sort of shade. And then I also got this one. This is from Aden, and this is their Eye Styler Kohl Kajal, which I also got in a brown shade. I think this is the only product I got from, I don't know if it's Aden or Arden, I have no idea. But this one's quite a dark brown, so I kind of want to use the Astra one because it's a bit, I don't know, like it's just a more interesting colour, I think. So I think I'm going to use the Astra one in my waterline. It's a bit more of like a reddy brown. That's the 2 sort of shades next to each other. So yeah, I'm going to use the Astra one, I think. And I'm going to put this in my top and bottom waterlines. Yeah, I really like that colour. It's got good pigmentation, applied quite nicely. Not much more else I could say about that. Decent eyeliner pencil. I obviously will try that other one out at some point in time. I do also have a liquid eyeliner. This is from Effect. This is the waterproof pen eyeliner, and it's another brown eyeliner, so I may as well use this. I really liked the Art Deco brown liquid liner I used in the first video, so we'll see how this compares to that one. It has got a thicker nib, is that the word? So I'm just going to attempt to do a, the colour is a little bit lighter than the Art Deco as well. I'm going to just attempt to do some sort of little wing. We'll see how it goes. That liquid liner's done a pretty good job. I definitely prefer the Art Deco one, mainly just because like the tip is a lot thinner. This is quite a chunky tip, so it takes like a bit of work. Like it definitely took longer for me to do that than it did with the Art Deco one, but I like the colour. It's decently pigmented, so it's not bad. Not bad by any means, but not the best liquid liner formula ever. But not bad. So I've actually got two mascaras to try out. They're both from Astra. So we have the So we've got the High Tech Extension Mascara, which also says Luxurious Length, which is this one here. It's in this very chunky silver packaging. And we've got like a sort of long, thin one with that one. And then the other Astra one is the High Volumizing Mascara, which says Sexy Volume, and this is in a gold packaging. And this one's got a chunky hourglass one. So I think I'll just try one on each eye, because I'm curious about both of them. So I'm going to start with the Sexy Volume one on this eyeball. It's definitely a very chunky one. I'm just gonna whack a load of this on my top lashes, see what happens. Okay, so that's what that mascara looks like. It's done a decent job. I wouldn't say I'm like super wowed by it. Like it's done an alright job, like you can definitely see the difference, but I wouldn't say it's the most volume, and it did take a lot of layers to get to just this. But it's not awful. It is okay. Let's just try out this other one, the Luxurious Length one, and see if that's any better, worse, the same. Who knows? I think the one of this one is definitely probably better, because that other one is quite thick and harder to get sort of an intricate application with, whereas this one's definitely a bit easier to grip your lashes with. Okay, this one I actually really like. That one is definitely a lot better than this one. Like, it just gripped my lashes really well. It's given good volume, good length. That one I'm actually really impressed with. I really like that one. The Sexy Volume one, not so much. This one I'm vibing with though, so I'm actually quite happy, because I was starting to get worried that all the mascaras I'd brought this month were duds, but we've got one good one. I like that. In fact, I like it so much I'm gonna layer it up on the other side as well. Yeah, this is good. I think I do just like these sort of ones where they're just long and like quite thin. So yeah, silver one, brilliant, really like it. Gold one, not so much. Thank God though, thank God we've tried a good mascara finally. Yeah, not bad lashes now, after all that. So we're gonna move on to base now. I'm using the Art Visage Luminizer Glowing Makeup Base. It's the same primer I used in the first video, because I only brought one. So I might as well use it again. So I'm just going to whack all of this on my skin. It is a nice primer, I did like it in the first video, and I've used it a couple of times since then. It's just a nice primer. It's glowy, but smoothing at the same time. It's a weird one, but I like it. Also smells really nice. The foundation that we're going to be using is another Astra product. This is the Astra Transformist Foundation and Concealer, and this is a this is a foundation that has a doe foot. I don't know, I quite like doe foot foundations. I know they're not for everyone. I got this in the light shade, at least I think it was the light shade, which I think is 01C. I think it was called Swan, I think. It does look fairly pale, but it does have a bit of a like pinker undertone to it, which generally I try and avoid pinker undertones. I try to give something a bit more neutral, just more so to match my neck than anything. I know my face is quite blotchy and red, but my neck is definitely more neutral with like a tiny bit of yellow, tiny bit. I mean, luckily our concealer's quite yellow, so maybe that will like balance it all out, I don't know. I'm just gonna apply some of this. It's definitely very fair, that's for sure. It's just the undertone I'm slightly worried about. But I think we'll just use it on its own, and then hopefully the concealer will sort of balance that out. But I do have like yellow colour corrector, so I could like add to it if it is that much of an issue, but I don't know, I guess we'll find out. I'm putting quite a lot on because I do like me some coverage, you know. Once it's blended in, it doesn't actually look as pink. It's definitely very fair, like I do look a bit ghostly. But I feel like it's a colour I can work with. It's definitely quite matte. Pretty decent coverage. I'd say like a solid sort of medium coverage. I think it looks pretty nice on the skin. It's really matte, which I do think that primer also does help with like mattifying as well. Even though it's a luminizer, it's sort of like matte and luminizing. Is weird. I do feel like maybe there's a couple of areas where like it's sort of clinging a bit weirdly because it is a more matte formula, but I don't know if again like it's the primer doing that, and it might look a bit different without that primer or with like a more hydrating primer. It doesn't look bad or anything. Like I think it looks really quite nice. I'm just not sure if maybe in a few areas it like sort of is clinging a bit weirdly. But again, I think that could be like a primer thing. But I do actually overall like how it looks on the skin. Like it looks really nice and quite lightweight. Nice finish. Covered pretty well. So we're going to go back to the Long Stay concealer that we used earlier. And I'm just going to whack this everywhere. It's definitely darker than the foundation and way more yellow. So I'm just going to use it like everywhere that I want some extra coverage. Okay, the concealer has blended nicely over the top of that. It has very good coverage. I think it's helped with the colour a bit. Like the colour is definitely a little bit off. Like we ain't looking perfect here. But it's helped a bit. Overall I think this base like looks pretty nice. I think I just want to try this without that primer. Maybe like a more hydrating primer or just no primer at all. I think it's just that I'm finding it like a tiny bit dry. That is the only issue I'm having. Which, I mean, I love a matte foundation, but I feel like there is a difference between like matte and dry, and I feel like it's kind of on the borderline a bit. But I think, again, I'm pretty sure that is the primer that's kind of caused that a bit. But I won't know for sure until I retry it. I'm probably going to try it again tomorrow. So I do have a loose powder and a pressed powder to try out. These are both from Effect. So we've got the Mineral Loose Powder Soft Touch. I don't know what the shade is. I think it might be like a translucent shade, but it's not like a white translucent, like it's got a tint to it. And I've also got the Smooth and Unique pressed powder, which is in the shade Milky Beige, which looks like a very fair shade, a little bit of a warm tone to it. So I used the Anastasia loose powder in the first video and I really liked that. been using it a lot since, and yeah, it's really nice. So this one has like a sort of mesh packaging, but you do still have a lid that you can tap into, which is excellent. I can't stand it when loose powders don't have like a detachable lid, so you can actually tap the powder into something, you know. This one is definitely flying everywhere. It seems like it's quite finely milled, potentially. The colour looks like it should work, but we'll see. I'm just tapping a load out. Okay, I've got a bit in here. Like, it looks fair. Hoping that it doesn't come out orangey. Let's hope. So I'm just going to use it in the under eye area, and then I'll use the pressed powder to do the rest of the face. Let's just tap out these creases. It's definitely not brightening, but I wouldn't say it's like really dark either. Like, I feel like it's just would probably match my skin tone. Let's continue. I mean, it seems to have set the under eyes pretty well, actually. I think because this base is too light for me, the colour is actually working, but I think over like a slightly deeper base, like, it definitely wouldn't be a brightening shade. But I think it does look pretty decent under the eyes. Like, the finish seems nice. Right, I'm going to use this, what you called Smooth and Unique pressed powder, and I'm going to use this just to set the rest of the face down. I don't know if this is going to be lighter or darker than the loose powder. Guess we'll see. Quite a thick powder, like, it definitely has a bit of coverage to it, which is quite nice. It's actually really nice. It's got a very lovely finish. Like, everything's looking very smooth. I feel like the colour of both of those powders is like a tiny bit deep, but on a base like this that was too pale, it kind of works out in the end. And I'm not gonna lie, I have quite a lot of foundations that are too pale for me, so I definitely will still get use out of them, even with the colour being like a little bit darker than what I usually go for. I definitely still will get use out of it. Overall, I think that base looks quite nice now. We're definitely fully covered. Everything looks really smooth. The first video, I tried to use this one as like a bronzer, but it sort of came out too light. This is the Mineral Baked Powder from Effect Cosmetics as well. I'm gonna try like sort of dusting this like all over the face and see what happens. Yeah, I'm not sure anything happened. So I mean I could try using it as like a setting powder, but I don't know if it would even work. Like, has that made me any glowier? I don't know. I did end up using this product in the first video. It's the Effect Glamour Pressed Bronzer. I actually did really like it. It's the only bronzing product I have to use really, so I'm going to use it again. But yeah, shade looks like this. It works pretty good for pale skin. It's got good pigment, blends well. Been using it quite a bit since the first video. And I'm just going to add a load of this to me bronzing the spots. I don't have a different blush, so I'm going to use the Art Deco blush that I used in the first video. This is the 29 Pink blush shade from Art Deco. And this is another product I've been using quite a bit since, and I do really like it. It's just a really nice, natural sort of baby pink blush. Like, it's more of a buildable formula, but it's really nice. Got a new highlight to try, another Effect product. This is the Shine On Pressed Highlighter. And it looks like this. It's a very icy white. It's got a lot of sort of like shimmer and glitter in it. When you swatch it, it has a sort of almost see-through texture. It looks quite wet looking. It looks quite nice though. Alright, let's give this a try. Ooh. Okay, I like that. Okay, that's really pretty. It is like a sort of wet looking, like metallic-y kind of highlighter. It's quite similar to like the Diamond Bomb from Fenty, but I actually think this one is a bit more punch to it than that one. I actually really like that, so I'm just going to carry on layering this up. Okay, so this highlighter might not be to everyone's taste because it is quite glittery, but I personally really like it. I think it looks quite magical. I think it looks really pretty. It's like a very sort of ethereal, glittery, magical kind of highlighter. But I like it, but it might not be to everyone's taste. Because it's almost like sort of transparent, like glittery sort of highlighter. But I quite like it. Okay, so for eyebrows, I actually have a brow styling soap and I've also got a brow pencil. So I'm going to use the brow pencil first and then use like the soap thing afterwards to sort of style it. So the pencil is from Astra. It's the Geisha Brows Micro Precision Pencil and it's in the 04 Taupe shade. And it is kind of just your standard brow pencil with a spoolie in one end and then a fin tip. Let me just brush through my brows first. I'm going to fill them in with the pencil first. And then I will add the soap. The colour seems decent. I really like that brow pencil because it's quite creamy and like easy to like blend and work with. So the brow pencil I used in the first video from Art Deco is a lot stiffer and drier, whereas that one was just like much easier to apply and like blend with the spoolie. So yeah, I really like that brow pencil, that's a good one. So I'm going to try out this soap thing from Effect. Just looks like this. It just kind of looks like soap. It smells really nice actually. I'm gonna just put like a bit of setting spray on a random spoolie I have. I'm gonna just, I guess, wedge that. Okay, wow. Oh my god, I think I've got a bit too crazy here. Let's just wipe off that excess. Whoopsie. Okay, I think I might have a bit too much on there, but I'm gonna, I guess, soap my brows. Smells really nice. It smells like gummy bears. Okay, that's really stuck my brow hairs down. I mean, it definitely does the job. Like, it does what you'd want a brow soap to do. Like, it feels quite weird because I'm not used to this sort of brow thing, but I do feel like it's done like a really good job as a brow soap. Like, it's sort of brushed the hairs into place. I'm just really not used to this kind of look, to be honest, but it's definitely done the job well. Like, I can't really complain. I'm just not used to soap brows. They feel a bit weird. But I could maybe vibe with it over time. I'm going to put a bit of this highlighter in my inner corners. My eyes. Oh, that looks really nice in the inner corner. I'm just going to use the same transition shades I used from the Anastasia palette earlier and just whack some of them on the lower lash line. Putting some more of the silver Astra mascara on my bottom lashes. Okay, so lastly for lips, I have a lipstick and I have a lip oil. So the lipstick is from Effect. It's just called Longwear lipstick. The shade is Incognito. It's like quite like a peachy shade. I don't know if that's what it looked like online, because it's not really what I normally go for. Ooh, it smells very vanilla-y, like MAC lipsticks. And I've also got the Astra Pure Beauty Juicy Lip Oil, which looks quite nice. I know it's like a lip oil, but I guess you could use it as like a lip gloss, I don't know. I'll try the lipstick first, and then I'll try the oil over the top. Does that make sense, or would it make more sense to put the oil on first? I have no idea. I'm not sure about this colour, it's very orangey. Okay, the one nice thing I'll say about it is that it smells amazing, but that colour just isn't for me. It's also really sheer, and like the formula isn't matte at all. I just don't like how it looks. Regardless of the colour, I just don't like the texture of it either. It doesn't feel matte, it's really slippy and slidey and not opaque. I mean, the colour's not awful, it's just not what I'd usually go for. Like, it doesn't even look that bad with the eye look. I just really can't see myself using this. I just don't like the formula. It's like not opaque at all. It feels like really, it just feels cheap, which, you know, I have nothing against cheap makeup. I fucking love cheap makeup, but you know, there's the difference between something being cheap and feeling cheap. I'm gonna wipe that off and just use the lip oil, I think, because I just don't really like that. Okay, I have much higher hopes for this lip oil. I mean, surely because it's an oil, it should at least be like nourishing to my lips. I like the wand. I think it is just going to look kind of see-through. I don't think there's really a colour tint to it. I'm not sure about the smell. It smells a bit weird. Okay, that feels really hydrating. Like, that just feels like the sort of thing I'd want to just put on my lips every day because it feels really hydrating. And it just looks like a clear lip gloss, really. But that's fine because I've kind of gotten more into that sort of look anyway. I don't really like the smell. Like, there's just sort of, it's a bit like medicinal, but like children's medicine, which I know loads of people like the smell of children's medicine, but I can't stand it. I like the applicator as well. It looks really cute. It feels really nice. Not the biggest fan of the smell, but it feels really hydrating and just nice on the lips. So yeah, we like that. So I think that is everything. I'm just gonna clean up mascara mess I've probably made, sort my hair out, and put a bit of setting spray on, and then I think we're done. Okay, we're back. I'm gonna put a bit more of the Anastasia Dewy Set setting spray that we used in the first video on. Why not? Okay, so this is the finished look, a full face of makeup with brands beginning with A. I think it's turned out pretty nicely. It's all come together quite well, I think, in the end. To run through the products, the eyeshadows, I mean, I actually think they do look quite nice. Like, they're not the usual sort of shimmer formula that I'm used to, because like they're not super like sparkly and glittery. They're just quite sort of subtle. Like, they're subtle, but they're pigmented. It's kind of weird. Like, I kind of like them. It's not what I usually go for, but I actually do kind of like them. Like, I definitely like keep using those shades and like play around with them. The pencil eyeliner and the waterline was good. The liquid eyeliner is like pretty decent. I think it's done a good job, but I do prefer the Art Deco one I used in the first video just because of how thick the nib is. But I do still think it's decent. Quite like this mascara from Astra, but as I said, not really digging the gold one. The silver one though, I actually quite like it's given my lashes some pretty decent like length and volume, which is all I want. Foundation looked pretty nice. Like, I do feel like it looked a tiny bit dry, but again, I think that was the primer, so I will need to just keep playing with that. The concealer had pretty good coverage. The powders, both of the powders definitely had a really nice finish. They might be slightly dark for me, but because I have a lot of foundations that are too pale for me, I still will be able to get use out of them. And the more I'm looking at the eyebrows, I'm actually like really liking them. Like, I'm quite digging the soap thing actually. I think because I have really unruly brow hairs that never stay in place. So I'm actually like quite digging them. And the pencil was really good as well. I really like that brow pencil. It's just so creamy. And the colour like works really well with my natural brow hair. Like, both of those brow products I'm just liking these brows. I don't know if they look as good on camera, but in person I really am vibing with them. I might become a soap brow person. All of the cheek products I really like. The highlighter is actually really pretty. I can't wait to keep trying that. Again, it's a bit of an unusual formula, but I personally really like it. I feel like it looks quite like wet on the skin almost. I do not like this effect, like this weird corally peachy lipstick. I don't like that at all. But the lip oil feels really nice. I really like it. Just don't love the smell that much, but everything else about it I really like. Okay, so we have now completed the first letter in the A to Z makeup series. A is done. So next we're going to be doing B, which is an easier brand to do because there is way more makeup brands that begin with B, and I already have a lot of makeup brands that begin with B in my collection, so I don't need to buy as much, although of course I will be buying some new bits because I've been on a no-buy. Of course I want to try out new things, you know. So that's it for this video, so thank you for watching and I will see you in my next one. Goodbye.